Hey Theater Inspires! Welcome to Make It Sparkle, a series to get ideas and inspiration for your theater and dance shows. This video is about costume design, and it features Shirlee Idzakovitch. Shirlee has been working as a professional costume designer and stylist for over 25 years, and has costumed over 100 shows. A few of the shows include Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, and On Your Feet, and she also works with modern celebrities and icons. Shirlee is an incredible teacher as well and mentors many young people interested in the craft. Hope you enjoy this and get some fresh ideas.
In the real world, not in the high school or community theater, or maybe some community theaters, because there's some that are huge and they actually do it. Getting into the director's head is probably the hardest step. It really is, because it's so funny, because I've worked with many directors, many, and some of them, they're on point. They know exactly what they want. They tell you exactly what they want. You move forward, you sketch it out. It's important to understand that sketch, and that's your starting point. You don't have to be the best sketch artist. You don't have to. I mean, I can get a croquis on a piece of paper that's already made for me and then put a costume on it. But if I tell a group of students or a group of actors, just like a blue jacket, if there's 50 people in the room, there's going to be 50 different various versions of that blue jacket. No one in their head is going to think the same way that I'm doing. So understanding the director. But then I have some directors that are just beyond clueless about costuming. And the majority of them are right up front. They're like, I don't understand costume. I don't get this. I'm going to let you take the lead, but this is what I'm looking for. And they can't even find the right words. Getting them to say the word Spencer blue jacket is hard, because they don't know what a Spencer jacket is. And it might not even be blue. It might be purple blue. It might be red blue. It might be yellow blue. And what they're trying to create, I really have to listen to their words and decipher their words. And they'll start talking. The next thing I know, they've said the word glitzy, or they've said the word, outstanding, or they've said the word classic. And understanding their language from the get-go is my number one priority. Once I do understand what they want, then the sketches are built. That's when you have to have a production meeting with your costume group. And I know a lot of schools say, oh, I don't have a costume group. And I'm like, you've got one kid in fashion, you've got a costume group. It doesn't necessarily have to be the theater kid. It could be the kid and it doesn't necessarily have to be the kid that can walk into Anthropology and buy what's on the mannequin. That's nice. That's wonderful. I get it. You've got a big credit card. It's usually the kid that's coming in from Goodwill and making their own look in the back of the class, and their hair is 5 different colors, and they've cut up this, and they marked on this, and they've painted that. And I'm like, oh, that's the kid I want on my team. That's the creative kid that I see. And I'm telling you, half the time they're not even involved in the theater scene. But getting that 1 or 2 people involved in your costume group as your crew, that's golden. Sometimes you have to look outside your theater group. But I know when I go to Texas or Florida, they have massive costume thespians. And oh my gosh, I mean, there's 10 of them in one school instead of maybe having one. So they have full groups of costume students that are in the school. And I have some schools that teach costuming classes, which is incredible. So you get that group together and you start putting together your lookbook. I call it my costume lookbook. A lot of people call it costume Bible. A lot of people call it different things. And you know how the manager has their script book? My costume book is as big, if not bigger, than the manager's book. I have everything in that book. And I actually teach a class through EDTA about costuming A to Z and everything you want in that book, which is really good, because I don't leave anything out. Nothing. Everything that I need is in that book. But once you get that book together and you start delegating who does what, when they do it, how they do it, and time frame. You can't do without a time frame. I mean, know your limits, understand where it's going to be bought, where it's going to be rented, where it's going to be borrowed, where it's going to be made. There's only 4 ways to get it to stage, and those are the 4 ways. And once you get all of this pulled together and you have a timeline and it's written down, even if you're a one-man show, I'm a visual person, I want to see it in front of me. I don't want to come up and say, oh, I missed that. Oh, everything is written down on the costume plot, in the timeline, in the costume book. So that's how I teach the director or whoever's over the costume shop or whoever's over the show. This is how I do it. This is how I do it professionally. And you can modify it. You can simplify it and take it down really easy. But getting that book together and keeping that book open in a safe space where anyone can come and look at it. Everything's written in it. You don't need 10 books. You just need 1 book, and everyone needs to be coming through that book and seeing where the time frame is. Having a checklist at the very front of the book so you can see where everyone is. Great idea. Great idea. Especially if you're doing a show that's 6-7 months out. Now, if you have a show that's only like a month out, then I feel sorry for you, because I know how rushed and how hard it is to get it done. But you should still do that book, because it really does help you keeps you organized, and it keeps everybody on the same page. And I kind of nudge and say, my lighting people, my set people, the props people, go look in the book. If you're not sure about what we're doing in that scene, go look in the book, because it's in there. So that way the stage crew is not painting a backdrop all gray, and I'm doing 18 jumpers in gray at the same time. I mean, we can contrast our colors, but when it comes to stage, you have to understand that when the light hits it and both pieces are gray, our little actors are just going to fade into the background, and you're not going to see them at all. So that's one of the first steps I would tell any director at any stage, even pre-Broadway, off-Broadway. I mean, I've done some shows where they just look at me and they're like, oh, well, what's that? And I'm like, sometimes I have done shows in community theaters that are way more pulled together and more apt to succeed in the end than Broadway shows that I can tell from the very beginning is going to fail in the end. Or not fail, but not be its fullest potential. So, I mean, but that's a learning curve, and everyone goes through it.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you've worked as a costume designer in theater or dance and have ideas or tips to help others learn, please be sure to include it in the comments below.